Are we recording? Yes, we are rolling. Today is April 15th, and here is your reading. So, to review the question, you are thinking of having some work done with a root worker or conjure doctor, or however you might want to say it, hoodoo practitioner. So, we're going to take a look at the two practitioners that you're thinking of working with and seeing, you know, if fate is stacked a little bit more in favor of one versus the other. So I've got two decks here. I didn't do my usual ask you for a 9-digit number thing since you're my friend and I know you, so I'm just gonna do it for you. So so I have two decks mixed together here. These are the Gods and Titans deck and the Goddesses and Sirens deck. The books are by Stacey DeMarco, and this is my favorite illustrator, Jimmy Manton. They're all Australian, and I'm just gonna pick an oracle card for you to kind of set the tone for the reading. Okay, so what have we got? That's an interesting one to pick. So we've got Redemption. I can kind of see that in a way, because I know why you're having the work done, but let's just keep that in mind, Redemption, as we go through the reading. I'm doing the borderless Waite Smith deck, because I know that this is your favorite, so I already shuffled them off camera, and let me just get a good spread here, and let's go ahead and take a look at the situation. Okay. So for further background, I know that the reason why you're thinking of doing work with a Conjure Doctor is that you're having, well, I was gonna say interpersonal, not really interpersonal. You're having some issues with clients at work and the types of clients that that I guess the client relationships, people that you would prefer not to work with, are in your world, and I think the Conjure is trying to. The seeing of the Conjure Doctor is really trying to resolve that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick 3 for the foundation. One, 2, 3. Let's see what's just kind of going on first. Interesting. Okay, so the first one we have, and this kind of makes sense from a numbers game to me, but so the first one is the 5 of Cups, and the 5 of Cups is about kind of like, well, it's emotional because it's cups, it's the suit of water, and it's kind of about like disappointment. You'll see that there's 3 cups tipped over, and out of the 3 cups, there's what people mostly refer to as wine being spilt, and 2 of the cups have spilt red wine onto the ground, and then 1 of the cups has spilt green wine. So a lot of people think that that's poison. So coming into this, I would say that on an emotional level, you're getting rid of some things, but there are some of the things that you've lost here are things that you didn't want in the first place. So, you know, there's kind of like, if you look at it in terms of cycles, seasons, things like that, you know, or in terms of balance, like, yes, there's a loss, but some of the stuff that you have lost, you didn't really want in the first place. And this card is often a reminder that, you know, there's still 2 cups standing behind you. So it's always one of those things where if you focus on the bad, you're not seeing the good. If you're focusing on what has been lost, you're not seeing what you still have. And there's also the well, there's what's the word? I'm not very articulate today. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. The other aspect of this card, there's a light side and a dark side to every card, and the aspect of this card that I really like is the bridge in the background. The bridge over I call it the bridge over the troubled water. So you're kind of in a situation where there's some disappointment, unhappiness, things like that, but there is a way to the promised land. Like, there's a castle in the background on the other side of the river, and there's that bridge to get you there. Now, the bridge is still in the distance, so it might take a while, but there's definitely a path to get you where you need to go. Now, the Queen of Pentacles, this kind of makes a lot of sense. So, you know, you're coming from a place where, you know, you could think of it as like losing clients. I think in your case, it's more like you're trying to cast off clients that you don't want to work with. And that's kind of like, I could see this picture as being representative of almost you tipping over the cups yourself. Moving on though, you know, you're coming from here into the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles, if we look at Pentacles as livelihood, right? Everything that you do to put a roof over your head and to you know, to meet Maslow's needs is another way I usually phrase this here. The Queen of Pentacles, and I just kind of, because I know your situation really intimately, which is different from when I usually do tarot readings for people. I like that this card is Pentacles because I know that the job that you're talking about is not your calling. I know that you do two things right now. You have your bread and butter job, and then you have your side gig, which you want to turn into your main gig, right? Which is your soul fulfillment job, like the wands type thing. So the Pentacles is really appropriate here. So the Queen of Pentacles, the situation here is that, you know, the queens are nurturing and they have mastery over their situation. And you are in a leadership position in your job. And, you know, to me, the fact that you're reaching out to, we're considering reaching out to a Conjure Doctor for help, for magical help, is, you know, it's you nurturing your own business, right? You're trying to get rid of the bad elements that are making, you know, your current job, they're keeping your current job from being as joyful as it could be, right? So the Queen of Pentacles here, this nurturing aspect, makes total sense to me. Now, where you're headed though, it's looking like, sorry, some stuff was just coming to me in my head. So you've got the Three of Swords here. So swords are about the mind. They're about intellectual energy, mental energy. This is like the heartbreak, the literal heartbreak card. This is another form of loss. So if we look at these as a progression, I'm kind of seeing that this magical work, I think on an intellectual level or on a mental, like the way you're going to be thinking about this magical work, I think there's going to be a level of disappointment. So you're coming from like disappointment, you're taking the reins, and in order to try to create, to nurture and foster the environment you want at work. But then I think there's going to be some degree of disappointment with this magical work. So that's really interesting. Let's see what comes up for the rest of the stuff. And I'll pull a card at the end to try to tie things together to try to make a little bit more sense of this Three of Swords. The thing that was coming to me when I paused was, I was wondering if this had to do with the fact that in magical situations, everyone has free will. So it's your will against the will of other people. And I was thinking that this kind of disappointment could be on that level where there's a clash because of everyone having the freedom of will. And what you're asking, I know the magical question, which is kind of irrelevant for this reading, and I know that it is a little more the broadcast of the magical ask, because you've had some, look, I think you recently mentioned that you've had 3 clients that you've come back into, you know, contacting you that you had thought, you know, you wouldn't have to deal with again. And in very short proximity, 3 clients have come back into your life. And the magical working, for people who are not you, like anybody else who might be watching this, you know, the magical working is really to prevent those types of clients from coming into your life. So I'm wondering if, like, from a magical, from the will, your will over other people's, like this is such a broad cast of a magical working. I wonder if that could be what the other aspect of this card here. But let me go ahead and pull some cards for the actual practitioners we're talking about now. So I know that there's 2 practitioners on the table. One is from Northern California and the other one's from Southern California. So that's the way I'll divide up the pie here. And let's take a look at the energy of you working. Well, now that I said that out loud, yeah, let's just take a look at the energy of the practitioners first. just the general energy of them. Okay, so Northern California. And then Southern California. And that's the energy of the practitioners. And I'm kind of curious, like, because this is, you're hiring someone to do something, I'm gonna pull a second card for each of them to see, well, okay, what's the financial difference? If there's just any, you know, like if one is gonna be drastically more expensive than the other, let's look at the financial outlay. So for the Northern California practitioner, the financial outlay. And then the Southern California practitioners, financial outlay. Okay. Northern California, Southern California. Okay. Wait, so what did I say? Northern, Southern. Okay, so what I would say for the energy of the folks, we have a page over here for Northern California. So I don't know. I was under the impression that the Northern California practitioner and the Southern practitioner, well, actually, no. I happen to know that the Southern California practitioner is actually more experienced than the Northern one. So I think the element of the page opposing the Major Arcana card, that's demonstrating a difference in the level of experience that they bring to the table. So that's one aspect here. So, however, like the page is, there's the fiery energy here, the will. So he has the will to accomplish what you want him to do. It's just that I would say he's coming from a place of lesser experience here. Now, Justice, because you are a lawyer, I would say that the Justice card bodes well, given the fact that your background is law, and we're looking at the energy of the practitioner, and so there's a resonance here. The way I normally read the reversals, though, is because this card was reversed, is there's some sort of blocked energy. So in terms of Justice being blocked, if we look at the card upright, you know, there's definitely like the intellectual energy. If we look at the sword, which is completely upright, almost all of the sword cards in the tarot that are being held, not like the ones that are right here, they're always being held at an angle, right? So there's like the left and the right, the yin versus the yang, and there's that aspect. And so the intellectual energy here is completely balanced because the sword is upright. So I feel that that's a good sign for someone like an intellectual person like yourself to be working with the practitioner. The balance, however, if you notice like the way the Justice, the figure is holding the scales in the Justice card, it's almost kind of like, ew, like a I don't know, like it's a very flimsy grasp, almost like I don't want my cooties on this. And I feel that that's always kind of like an indicator where, you know, might wins out over the true balance of the situation. So the fact that this is reversed, though, I feel like I wonder if there's like delay. And actually, you know what? I'm Facebook friends with this person and they're on vacation right now. So the reversal actually maybe might not be too negative. It might just be this person's traveling in Europe right now. So there could be a delay before you could actually work with that person. Because like my reversals are always blocked energy. So that could be something takes longer than you would like. It could be blocked energy. It could be I don't usually use as a literal reversal of the card, like that this would be injustice for any reason, especially in a reading like this. So I think there could be some delay or some, like it would be troublesome to get started over here. That's the way I'm reading it. Now over here at the Knight of Cups, as opposed to the Four of Swords for the monetary aspect, the fiduciary aspect, the financial outlay, I mean, the Knight of Cups, it's an emotional quest, which is blocked, and, you know, there's not a whole lot of literal stuff to go. So, I mean, my gut feeling is that, like, I feel like what we're trying to say, like a quest for emotional fulfillment that's blocked, like that meaning, I would just say that maybe from a financial perspective, it might be indicating that with this worker, it might take a few tries, right? Because you're on a quest where the energy is blocked. So that emotion, the quest for emotional fulfillment that's kind of reflected in the 5 down here. What I think that this means from a financial perspective is that, you know, okay, you might have to pay for a number of workings. Like say if he's going to light a candle for you, maybe you're going to have 3 candles, right? Or something like that. So I think this one might just be stretched out a little bit. Whereas over here, the 4 of Swords is all about rest and repose and recharging. So I'd say that like, and you know, we have the stained glass window over here with the word peace behind the figure. So I'd say that, you know, what you'll be, I think there's going to be a level, you'll be really relaxed with whatever the financial ask is over here. You know, that's just kind of the gut feeling. So like whatever the charges are over here, I think you'll be really comfortable with them. So I'd say kind of overall, this would be, you know, this reading, I'm kind of almost getting, because of this card, you know, that it, not that it isn't necessary, that, I mean, like, just the general tenor of the reading, I would say, is that, like, it's kind of like, to me, to even do this is kind of 50-50. I think I need to pull more cards, though, too. And the redemption, I'm not really getting the link of redemption. Well, maybe this is for you to figure out, the theme of redemption, how this works. Like, I mean, there's so many aspects. There's like the parties involved in their redemption, your redemption by getting what you want, the redemption for the firm. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that does make sense to you. Like, it's not really like resonating loudly for me, but if this theme resonates with you, let me know later. So let me pull, I'm going to pull the card that I was thinking of earlier too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull I'm going to do it kind of like a relationship reading, and I'm going to pull a card for what's the energy of you working with these people. So I'm going to pull one for Northern California, one for Southern California, of you, the relationship between these 2 workers, like how will you get along and stuff like that. So Northern California. And then Southern California. Okay. So I think, well, this is Southern California, since it's like a simple card, it's the 8 of Wands, right? So there's 2 meanings to that card. It's reversed. One of them has to do with speed, the speed with which the work will be done. So maybe like maybe there'll be some sort of pacing issue with the speed. The other aspect of this card is that, you know, all of the wands are aimed in exactly the same direction. So there's the element of things being on target, because all of the wands are perfectly aimed at their target. So since it's reversed, I'm wondering if something will be kind of off kilter, off target, like maybe off target meaning like a misunderstanding of precisely what your situation is and what you're trying to accomplish, which might need to be rectified, or it could be just resonating that she's going to be slow to get back to you, the Southern California practitioner. Now, the Northern California practitioner, it's interesting. You got the queen and the Page of Wands. There's a lot of fire energy over here. So the Queen of Wands reversed, I mean, resonating with, so you've got the wands resonating with his page, and you've got the queen resonating with the central card of your foundation over here. The relationship, though, it's reversed Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands would be like someone who nurtures, has command over their will in a nurturing sort of way, in a very calculated sort of way. So I feel like there might be something, because that energy is blocked of the nurturing of the will, I just wonder, I feel like there's a little bit of mismatch with both of the practitioners, honestly. Like, that somehow the way you, because they're both fire too, these 2 cards, the relationship cards are about fire, the will, your will, and exerting your will and how you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish. I'm wondering if, like, you know, because you're a lawyer and you're coming from a certain sort of background, personality, whatever you might want to say, that, you know, just fundamentally, like, you know, 2 like magical practitioners who are going to be very different from like a lawyerly type person. I wonder if there's just going to be a general clash of wills there because like of you know, being on completely different frequencies. So I'm going to draw one more card. I'm just going to draw a card like an advice card to just kind of sum up the reading here. Okay. Interesting. The 4 against the 5 of Cups. So there's... what I'm wondering is if we're kind of like... If this is kind of just, what do you call it? Not resonating, but kind of reinforcing the fact that, you know, you can do this. It may, like, as I mentioned earlier, there's like the 50-50 chance of efficaciousness. Like, we started over here with just being kind of disappointed, and this card is very similar. Like, you know, one of the definitions is boredom, but again, you've got a guy staring at 3 empty cups. And he's so fixated on these empty cups here, and he's kind of looking a little bit wan, forlorn, stuff like that, that he's not really seeing this, basically the imagery from the Ace of Cups. There's this other divinely offered, emotionally fulfilling thing that is being offered him that he's not turning his attention to. So what I'm wondering is that, you know, although you could do this, I wonder if... you know, that there's another path to emotional fulfillment. And, you know, to me, this is kind of what, this disappointment over here, and it being like 50-50 chances, I'm wondering that, okay, so maybe we're asking a question, you have a problem at work, shall we solve it with a conjure doctor, right? A root worker. Maybe... through some reflection, you can figure out like, okay, there's a way to get the emotional satisfaction that you want, but your attention right now is not turned to it. So that might mean, you know, some journaling, some meditation, some reflection, whatever, to figure out like, here's like here's the choices that you're focused on here, down here, these empty cups. The 4th one, it's not on your radar right now. So I'm wondering, you know, since you're my friend, I know, like, you know, there's like a lot of spiritual things that you do. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, maybe there's like a spiritual answer to the problem instead of a magical answer to the problem, or if there is, you know, changing the way your role works at work in order to solve the problem, like making it so that you're not the one interacting with the people that you don't want to interact with in the first place, and then maybe, you know, it will be someone else. It's delegating the responsibility of stuff that you don't want to do, or, you know, whatever it is. I feel like, okay, it's not something we've talked about. It's not exactly, it's not in the forefront of your mind right now. And I think it could be, because the universe is offering, that's what this cloud in the hand is all about. The universe is absolutely offering it to you, this other solution. It's just about getting it on your radar. So I'd say, you know what, if you're curious about working with a magical practitioner, it's a 50-50 chance, why not work with it and just have the experience. If you don't want to pay for it though, and you don't want to put forth the effort, then don't. This is not really the reading to me is not really giving a strong signal to go in either direction, quite frankly. And then just be aware that, you know, God, this resonance is so strong here, you know, that just, okay, to get rid of this disappointment in your life, this emotional kind of like, blah, figure out what's that possibility that's kind of just not, maybe it's just a spark right now, and it's just a place where it's not in a place where your attention is. But this is your energy right now. Your energy, like with the Queen of Pentacles, it's absolutely to nurture this workplace of yours, right? Your company and your work life, so that it is everything that you want it to be. So your energy is already in the right place. I think it's just like on an emotional level, to get where you want to go, that solution is just a little bit off the radar right now. So I think that's everything I want to say about the cards. thank you for letting me read for you, and let me know what you think.